Don't mind my dirty ass driveway, but this is what's up next. It's gonna be pretty simple. Got to relocate the coils where they're located. They're a little too close to the headers, and my buddy says that he keeps dropping coils once it gets hot, which, I mean, it's only like 6 inches there space. Obviously they produce a lot of heat, so those are getting moved. Not sure yet. I got to see where the wires reach for me to change them, but they might be going inside the cab since there's plenty of space. Same with this one's. I'm not really sure. And then I gotta look over the whole thing, but this thing is freaking sweet. Supposed to be LS1 motor, stock, I believe, other than obviously the EFI. It has this little baby over here. This thing is massive. Maybe it just looks like that because of that, but it's pretty big. Talk about sweet ride right here. And not only that, you guys want to see, set it right there. So, yeah, this truck is freaking sweet. I would love to own it, obviously, but having the space in the garage where it could actually fit other stuff. But like I said, for now, I'm gonna be relocating the coils. I still gotta make sure where they're gonna fit and all that. Once that's done, I gotta look over transmission plug and then oil pressure sensor, odd ends like the hose right here, obviously, but I might be able to move this. This is getting redone to be all one piece, or at least 2 piece, since it goes through here. But it is getting redone, so we'll eliminate this problem here, but we got to do something for now. And then there's something else I can't remember, but it should be a fun little project on this sweet ass truck here, so we'll see how it goes. So it did end up getting a little late on me. Obviously it's dark out right now, but I got one side old coils removed, depinned the wires. Let me get my light so you guys can see what I'm talking about instead of just babbling in the dark. Right, so the old wires for the coil were routed out the firewall behind the fender. They'd come out right here to the coil. I obviously depinned the plug because it wasn't going to fit through there or through the firewall to feed it back. It was basically same as this side. You guys can see. It goes somewhere back there, and it goes through the inner fender, or part of the fender I should say. Comes out, looks clean, but obviously this side I have to get depinned as well, pulled back and back out into the cab, and then it'll just get pinned back in there since the wires are going to be down there, and then it'll eliminate the coils being out here since they will be mounted inside the cab right there. Then I'll just have to drill a slot over there for the wires going through, but it's gonna go, obviously that's gonna be cylinder number 1, 3, 5, and 7, so it's gonna follow the head so they could go in a real organized order. Just have to get the little clips for the right size wires. And same on that side. We'll mount it pretty much the same way as it is here, just on the other side. Wiring for this things are pretty damn simple. Makes it plug and play here. You plug it to that wire that was already there. The only difference is you have a battery positive. This one goes to the cylinder head, and battery negative. So fairly simple, pretty straightforward. Then hardest part is honestly mounting this out here, especially without removing the seat. It's kind of hard to get in between there because there's only like 14 inches there. I'm pretty wide, but I'm managing. So like I said, it's got a repin over here, those wires into that plug. Make it tidy down there, and then should be able to move on to the other side, and then I'll just have wires left to do. Mounting brackets or bolts, I will use the different ones. This ones are just for mock-up. Then I'll put a little something nicer other than self-tappers, because I will use time certs, so I don't have to have a nut on the back side. But move on to the other side, mounting it after I pin this wires back on, and we'll be good to go. So I'm kind of at a stopping point here for the night. I just want to show you guys here what the kit consists of, basically. This harness here, like I said. On the other one, positive, negative, ground. But what baffles me, these are the old cables that they had, and they are literally about close to 5 feet tall on the longest one, which both sides are like that. So they literally had them, instead of going, you know, down away from the headers and into here, I'm guessing they just bought like the longest ones they could, and they'll literally do like a huge loop all the way back to the back, almost by a transmission, and then loop back up to the coil on both sides. So I'm sure part of that was his problem, but you guys can see on this side too, there's no shield like that one for the booster, but they are fairly close. So I can see heat being an issue. Hopefully putting him in there and the cables will be way shorter will eliminate a lot of his issues and get this car, truck, running a lot better than it was before. And given that this coils will have a direct power source from the battery, or power source coming from the battery, be a lot better than running just the small wire that power those coils. So I have not been doing any recording of the process of doing the coils and stuff. I figured, especially the cab, it's tiny, so I've been trying to do it in the garage. I can get the doors fully, but you guys can see, monitor him down here. Probably get my flashlight. So, okay, now there we go. Cleaned up some of the wiring down here. Obviously, still not as clean as it could be, but like all this wires down here, can't really clean up because where the EFI is, the actual ECU. But this is where I mounted them. Eventually, we do plan on making a play here to cover them, just so they don't get kicked and moved around. The only thing that I got left is actually put time certs through the firewall, so I could actually bolt them up and then they won't move, because here they're obviously loose. They're just on there with self tappers just to hold them. Wires go through the firewall. I do got to get more of these ties that are for the right size wire, but there's that down there. You can't really see it much, but once you're sitting down in here, even if you have your foot stretched, you don't really kick it much, but it'd be nice to put something here so nobody like sets their foot on them and stuff and kicks a plug or anything like that. So that's the passenger side, and up here we can see where they come out, and they're routed straight to the cylinders. But like I said, I got to get a couple more of those for the right size, and then I'll add more so they don't move around and accidentally hit the header or something, which where they're at there they shouldn't. Then if we go to the other side, don't mind the mess. I've been trying to work on 3 cars at once, so like I said, here same thing with this side. I still got to mount them. They're there, but they're not tight, and then clean up those wirings. But you can see where the wires go out the firewall. The only downside to this, if the wires ever need to be replaced, they do have to be, well, I guess they got to get custom made anyways. So you just feed them through the firewall like that. But that's done. Other than, like I said, the actual full time search to mount them. Next thing is wrap the headers. I got a harness for the transmission, the inside harness. I'll show you guys later in the video why. But as you guys can see, before I was having issues with it, it like ran weird. But now, if we go ahead and fire her up, sounds way smoother this way than what it did before. So, progress. Alright, so I got the coils fully mounted now. Pretty sure I already showed you guys previous clip. They were located. The only difference now that they are actually solid, they're not going anywhere. So you got to clean up those wires, but other than that, they could stay there for now, because that should be last minute things where I can pull it outside, open the door all the way, and have a little more room to work with without the RX-7 being in the way and a bunch of shit over there. The other thing I had mentioned that was left to do, the transmission harness. I just looked it up for a 4L80E, and this is a part number that I came up with. Hopefully it's the correct one. Looks like it has enough wire, so I'll be making a video of just replacing this for people that want to know how hard it is to replace. But for now, I'll be airing it up, lifting it, and then putting a jack stands under it, just so I could crawl under it, in case the air, for whatever reason, airs out. But like I said, this is up next. Transmission is going to get all new fluid. Well, refill. Mine is a torque converter, obviously, not draining that. And then move on to wrapping the headers to try to avoid heat soaking the brake master, because it apparently is applying the brakes once it gets driven a little while. So we'll see. But like I said, I'm gonna air it up and then crawl under there after I put jack stands on it and whatnot, and get that harness removed and then replaced. Before I forget, this is why these harnesses start leaking. See this little ears here? That's why when you push it from the inside out, this lock them in, and then this seals. These tend to break. They get brittle. They break. So the plug will actually push in. So that's why you gotta keep an eye on that. If your sensor is stuck back and can't plug it in, if you unplugged it or whatever, you likely need to replace your whole harness, which isn't very hard, but you do have to drop the pan. So I mentioned yesterday how I was going to replace the harness in the transmission, which is right here, but apparently it's a different style. I'm not sure what changes or what. I did pull the old one out and then compared them, I found out there was only one of these broken on the old one. Still pushes in just fine. So what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna put a zip tie around it, and we'll obviously put it through the case, put a zip tie around it, and these things are like pushed down, so that's why it doesn't lock. So I'm gonna do the zip tie and put it through under all of the clips here like this, and then zip tie it tight. So when when it tries to push in, obviously this one's here will be pulled up enough to lock it, and that should take care of the issue. And I did put a little bit of RTV on the O-ring, so that takes care of that. And then this one I'll just return it since I have no use for it as of now. But like I said, I'm gonna go down there and put the zip tie on there, and then I'll show you guys once it's all on there. Then I'll just have to go get a oil pan gasket and then some oil, and then hopefully we'll be set on the transmission part, then I can move on to the rest of the stuff. Alright guys, so to end the video, there's a couple more things that were left to do on this C10. Sadly, before I got to wrap the headers because they had to be removed, my buddy didn't want to have it down too much because he had some stuff going on. Ended up getting it back. He brought the headers over. I wrapped them off the truck, which was the best thing to do. After that, he ended up selling the truck, so we never got to throw it on the dyno. So that was that. I mean, it was still something that I got to work on. That was pretty cool. So there won't be any more of that. I know I was hoping to have a dyno video of that thing once we did a couple more things like bigger fuel cell, etc. But anyways, so that's the end of that one, or this video I should say. But stay tuned for others. I know I got a couple videos that I just haven't got time to put together and edit, but cars that I've been working after that, because at the beginning of this video is actually a while ago. But you know, figured I'd take the time to do this part, explain to you guys what happened, truck got sold, and then just end it. But like I said, stay tuned for more similar stuff. I've been working on a lot of cool stuff and stuff like that, so we'll see. If you guys like this, thumbs up, you know, follow, subscribe, you know, have a good one.